Hi, just so you know, I made a Patreon. The link is in the description below, or you can search by my name. It's just $1 a month for a subscription to gain access to my full length reviews. Thank you. This review is on the book by J.R.R. Tolkien and is The Hobbit. So, what is The Hobbit? The Hobbit is set within Tolkien's fictional universe and follows the quest of home-loving Bilbo Baggins, the titular Hobbit, to win a share of the treasure guarded by Smaug the dragon. Bilbo's journey takes him from light-hearted rural surroundings into more sinister territory. It was published by George Allen and Unwin. Publication date was September 21st, 1937, and as I stated, the author was J.R.R. Tolkien. Subjectively speaking, The Hobbit is a very fascinating and intriguing world and story within The Hobbit. So it's a prequel to the Lord of the Rings trilogy book series, and the Lord of the Rings is a trilogy, and The Hobbit is just one book, and it's a prequel, and it's basically Bilbo Baggins, who is the uncle to the main character in The Lord of the Rings, and The Hobbit basically is just what the description states. Bilbo is confronted by a wizard named Gandalf, and Gandalf is accompanied by dwarves who basically go on a quest to save their land and their origins and their race and everything. And on the way, at the beginning, they stumble on Bilbo Baggins, who is not really a renowned burglar or anything, but they believe him to be. And they go along with dealing with trolls, goblins, dragons, wars. And The Hobbit, I would say, subjectively, is a very well, briskly paced novel. I do have some issues with it, but for the main part, I do really enjoy the novelization of this story. It's basically what you got from the Lord of the Rings story, but kind of just condensed into one book, and it's basically the same kind of adventure, just set before those times. And I would say every character is endearing and likable. The story and the journey is actually pretty enthralling and pretty intriguing. So, really, the only gripe I have about The Hobbit is when they encounter the dragon named Smaug. So, some spoilers from here on out for a little bit. So, in the middle of The Hobbit, you get Smaug in the story, and Bilbo Baggins is tasked to basically sneak around him, and he utilizes the ring that he found from Gollum in earlier in the story. And personally, I would have gone with the story route of Smaug never waking up and Bilbo, sneakily going around him, going where he needs to go, accessing everything, getting what he needs to get. Instead, what we get is a cliche and predictable route of Bilbo getting caught trying to sneak around him, Smaug awakening, basically it becoming a violent sequence, basically for a future movie to be made to make it look epic. By the end of the novel, I will say they do actually utilize Smaug well in his story, in that you learn a lot of intrigue and personality from Smaug. But that one scene, to me, I think they could have written it in a different light. They could have done the whole scene just better in general. Otherwise, I don't really have any other complaints about The Hobbit. I think it's a very well grounded, well written novel. It's very well contextualized. There's a lot of imagery for what you're experiencing, especially in the intro when you're first starting to read the novel. I think they do an excellent job with the imagery and the environments, the characters, and the character details. You really only get to learn about Bilbo and Gandalf and Thorin, and all of the other dwarves are just kind of there to help. Whereas in the movie, and I'll get into that into a review at some point, in the movie you learn a lot about all of them, especially in the extended edition. But in the novel of The Hobbit, you really only learn, for the main characters, about Bilbo, Gandalf, and Thorin. So anyway, all in all, I would have to give The Hobbit, the book, a 9 out of 10. Thank you.